Hey everybody, it's Joe Simpson. Today I wanted to show you how to archive or back up your CDs. Really basic thing here, but I didn't really have a good source to go to. And if you're like me, it may have been a while since you've done anything like this. And sometimes when you go back to do things, it can be a little bit tricky. So there's two different softwares that I like to use. Today I'm going to look at the software called XLD, and the other software that I've been using is called FreeAC. I'll pull that up here so you can see it. So FreeAC is a pretty friendly interface, and it allows you to input a CD, pull the CD up, pick the conversion type that you want here. You have different encoder types. You could do MP3. I usually do all of my CD archiving in FLAC because the particular players that I use play FLAC. MP3 is the most widely accepted, but it is more compressed, so you're going to lose maybe a little bit of audio fidelity. To some of you, you may not even notice. I came across another CD archive software that I like a lot. It's called XLD. And you can download this if you go here and you just go to like any web page and you type XLD. I think it'll come up XLD Mac download. I go to SourceForge and it's free and you can download it right here. Hit the button, download it. And it doesn't even require like a software install. It just kind of runs on the Mac. So down here, you'll see my icon. I already have it put in my tray. And you just click XLD and it'll seem like at first nothing happens. But if you look at the top left of your screen, you'll see XLD represented. So before we get into do anything with the CD, let's do some settings. And so if you go into the settings pane of XLD, you'll see right off there's a general. And this is where you can pick your output format. So you could do Apple Lossless, which would be great. If you're like on a complete Apple ecosystem, Apple Lossless is an excellent audio file preservation format, but FLAC is a little more widely accepted. It can be a little more finicky and not playable. But you know, once you get this in one very good archived format, it's not very hard to cross-format these from one thing to another. So I could take my whole FLAC archive and create an MP3 archive, and it would take maybe about an hour and a half, something like that, to run all the audio tracks and stuff through there. Anyway, sticking with FLAC, and you can go into options and you can change the different settings for your FLAC settings. I just stay with the basics that come with the program. I don't know a whole lot about it. You can change bitrate depth and different things, but I just stick with FLAC and that's it. So that's all I do here in the settings. You can kind of read through it. It says output directory, same as input. I actually specify, but you'll see how I do that in a moment. Let's see, file naming. I leave that alone. It does a good job. It does, you know, like track one, it talks about the track. And you could, if you're cross-converting files, you could do like batch files and grab like 10 or 20 folders at a time. It does have a web crawler that will crawl and look for album art, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. It comes with the freedb.org app kind of already installed. You can use the Amazon Web Services, but I didn't set that up. And it will also set up metadata and embed that into the files. So it'll add tags. It says embed cover art images into files. I don't know how that works, but maybe it's working and I'm doing a step I don't need to, but I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a sec. Load the following files in the same folder as the cover art. Yeah, I'll show you how I handle cover art, and this is kind of why I like this program, but let's go over here to CD rip. I just leave it set to use the XLD secure ripper. I don't change anything. It already comes preset this way. Set automatically if possible is what I do for the drive speed. It'll run faster or slower depending on what it can handle. It saves a log file every time. I don't know why I would need that, but I just do it, in a cue sheet. And I don't know why I need that, but I just do it. Yeah, automatically open the disk on insertion. That was not checked. And eject disk when done. That's helpful, especially on a Mac, so you're not having to go at the end and say, eject disk, you know, open this software up manually every time you put in a disk. I want it to just come on and see what I'm doing. So let's move this aside. We'll leave these preferences over here, and I'm just going to grab a CD. This is going to be Stevie Ray Vaughan, Soul to Soul, and we're going to stick it in the player. You don't need to see all this. I didn't film me putting the CD in the player. So any CD reader is going to work for this for the Mac. So Mac has their own, or you can get a third party, plugs in with USB port. They usually don't cost any more than 40 or 50 bucks. So it goes through and detects all of the tracks and the gapping. I don't know what pre-gap means. So it comes up with a nice clean interface, shows you some information about the tracks. It also shows you the total length. And you can go in here and click on the metadata button and it will get album art. And I just hit OK. If it looks like it picks the right one, it might have several to choose from. I just hit OK, see if it loads in. So what you want to do once the album art loads, obviously, is compare it to the CD that's in your hand. If it looks the same, that's usually good enough. Now, there's a quirk with this. You would think that this would just automatically embed, and it might be embedding into the files themselves, but I don't know how that works. So what I like to do is open up a folder of the location that I have these things being saved at. And I don't have a Stevie Ray Vaughan folder. So I have like 3 or 4 CDs, and this is just a personal organizational thing. I will write Stevie Ray, Vaughan. I think that's how you spell it. That is correct. Okay. And then I'll go into the Stevie Ray Vaughan folder and I'll name it the album name. So this name is Soul to Soul. There might be other softwares out there that kind of set up this file structure for you, but this is just how I'm doing this. All right. So I manage my windows down to where I can see them all. I open up Soul to Soul, and this is where it gets weird. It says I can copy the image, and then I go over here and try to paste the image. There's no paste option. And I even try to hit Command V for paste, but it doesn't work. So what I do is I just open an instance of Notepad. It's really stupid, but I copy the image and paste the image, and then paste into Notepad just fine. And then watch this. I'll copy the image from here, and I can paste it over here, and it works just fine. So I don't know what's going on. It's a Mac thing. Anyway, go in here and rename it to cover.jpeg. I think that's what you want to do. Even though it's a TIFF, it still works when you change the type. It'll say, oh, are you sure you want to do JPEG? It might mess it up. And I say yes, and it doesn't mess it up. I can prove it to you. It opens just fine. So that's plenty resolution for cover art for music playback. So at this point, you're kind of done with your cover art management. And then I go over here to extract, and I hit extract, and I'll dive down in here to go to the collection, and I'll go to Stevie Ray Vaughan, and here's Soul to Soul, and I say I'm going to put all these tracks in here, and you just hit the button open, and that kicks the drive into action, and it will start spitting files across over to that location. And when it's done, it will automatically eject the disk because we told it to do so down here, and you'll know it's finished. And then it's on to the next CD. It's rinse and repeat. Do the same thing over and over and over. It's a little slow, but if you keep this organizational structure and you keep it clean, you'll end up with a really nice archive of all your music that you can put on different media players and access from Wi-Fi or outside of the house with special apps. It's really nice. And, you know, I know they have Spotify and all these streaming services, but there's times I can't find some of the things that I like to listen to. And there's times when the quality isn't even close. This is actually very good quality archiving, and it's a good way to back up your CDs. So if you have a shelf with like, you know, 400,000 or 500,000, 2,000 CDs, you can, you know, over the period of say a month, come down, drink a cup of coffee on a Saturday, do 10 or 12 CDs, and slowly you'll get through your whole archive. And once you're finished, you can just take those CDs and give them to Habitat for Humanity, give them to your best bud, whatever you want to do. Anyway, I thought you guys might appreciate this because this type of process wasn't blatantly clear and out there for me, so I thought I'd put it out there for you. You guys have a good weekend. I'll talk to you soon.